So here we are. It's been a year of essentially being in lockdown here in Toronto, which is where I live, which means that I've basically gone nowhere, done nothing, and I have worked from my home for a solid year plus. And I just recently actually went into the world and spent a full day working outside of my home. I did a video shoot in a photography studio. And to say that I showed up as a socially maladjusted human being would be an understatement. It was the first time I was interacting with other people in person for work purposes. There were only about 5 of us, all following COVID protocols, physically distanced, and all of that. But I walk into the room and I literally did not know how to behave. I was like, do I shake hands? No, I don't. I can't hug. So I'll just stand here rigid. Do I laugh? Do I smile? I didn't even know how to engage in social banter. I'm a very chatty human being. And I deeply struggled. I was like, I do not know how to behave. Now, I got over it, spent the day. By the time I came home, 6, 7 hours later, I was so exhausted from being out in the world, talking to other people. I was wiped. It was exhausting, which led me to take a step back and think about when the world properly opens up again. Are we all going to be a bunch of socially maladjusted human beings? And I have 2 answers to this question. Number 1, yes, I do think so, because we have been now programmed for over a year to physically distance from people, not to talk to people, not to touch people, blah, 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 blah. I think it's going to take us a minute to get sorted. But I also think, yes, we're going to be socially maladjusted, because I think it's going to be a lot like people gone wild, because once the world opens up and we can eat out and we can go to nightclubs and we can walk the streets and we can just be out and about, I think it's people are literally going to go wild. It's going to be bananas, a bit like spring break. People's spring break is what it's going to look like. The roaring 20s, if you will. All of this is going to require some adjustment. And so a few things that I'm doing, and these are just my musings, I'm already starting to psychologically prepare for when you have to work out in the world again, interact with people, what are you going to do at the end of the day to come home, to take care of yourself? Or maybe that hectic, wild schedule you had before was too much. Maybe you do spend more time at home, hunker down and be out and about a little bit. As always, I'm going to use my body as a guidepost to signal to me what feels good and what doesn't. But the point is, the world hopefully will be opening up very shortly. And I think we should all start thinking about this. How will you be? How will you take care of yourself? And do my musings resonate with you? I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you think is going to happen. And how are you going to take care of yourself when we do open up? So can't wait to hear from you. And thanks as always for watching.